I can settle down and be doing just fine till I hear an old freight rolling down the line.
You know, yeah.
Then I heard.
And look, if there's anywhere you don't want to go,
Yeah, that's fine.
we don't have to go there either. So, but there's no rules. Swear if you want.
And if I did,
Whatever. Go wherever you want.
Define
But, we got no money from the source anyway, so it doesn't matter what we say. So, Chris, thanks for joining us. Thanks for making the trip down the highway to Torquay, and joining us on the podcast.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
So we came across you as people who like to frequent local pubs and have a beer, particularly a nice dark beer.
Absolutely, the dark beer.
Yeah. And so we know you as the publican at the Sir Charles Hotham Hotel in Geelong on Bryant Street.
That's yes. I'm the face.
Yeah.
So we're always, there's no really set roles for us. We're a family.
Yeah.
So it's family. I might be called the publican, so might my father, and when things go wrong, we say it's my wife.
Well, your wife seems to be the one in charge from what.
Yes.
I've met your wife. I don't think she have a problem with that.
No, I used
Joe?
to. No, Rachel.
Rachel, that's right.
I used to be in charge of the pub, and she was in charge at home, and now I'm in charge of nothing. So yeah.
So your home and pub are separate. You don't live on.
No, we don't live on premise. I did as a young fella growing up.
Yeah.
As an 18, 19-year-old, but yeah, it's not a family environment really. So you need to be able to separate.
So to give some context, you're third generation publican there.
So everyone thinks I'm third.
Yep.
So my father actually bought the pub in 1991.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we were silent partners in the hotel.
Right.
We were accidental publicans.
Okay. All right.
So we were silent partners, and Dad was still a policeman at the time.
Yep.
So we were just in the background, and Dad's partner was running the show. He was a publican for a few decades on and off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And unfortunately, he passed away in 1996.
Right.
So the pub was thrust to us.
Okay.
Right.
And what's it now? 226. So there's 30 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's actually two generations. So,
So
it's
it's
it was your dad, not your granddad. Wasn't
So
it?
my grandfather, my father, and myself used to always work together on a Friday.
Oh, so your granddad was involved as
Yeah,
well
so
with
he
your
worked
dad.
on a Friday. He was a painter by trade growing up.
Righto.
And but he told everyone he owned it.
Yeah,
So all of a sudden that sort of grew legs, and it was three generations, and now my son and my daughter are working at the pub. So it's we really are three now. So yeah.
Yeah. So okay,
four.
that was the next question. Is there going to be a fourth generation or now a third generation? So
Yeah.
your son's working there? Or
He is. He works there full time. My daughter's luckily got a job that she loves, but she also helps us out. And yeah, that's just how we've always operated over the years.
Yeah, just a family-run pub.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's got that vibe, doesn't it, Brian?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's one of the few that feel like that's still in Geelong, that it is run by a family who have been there for a long time, all locals still. You go in on a Friday and it's very much a locals pub, isn't it? And there's not a lot of that left around, I don't think.
I went to a pub, I was probably 18 or 19, and I knew the publican, and I got talking with him, and he said, look, the only piece of advice I'll give you is always run a pub that you'd want to go to.
Yeah.
And we've sort of kept that
Yeah.
going, because what you see when you walk in the door is how we are.
Yeah.
We'll call you names. We expect you to call us names. We'll have a bit of banter, but it's just about having fun and, enjoying life.
Yeah. It reminds me of my earlier drinking days in Bendigo, where you go to the pub on a Friday and be exactly the same. Everyone would be hanging shit on everyone. The publicans, the people behind the bar be hanging shit on customers and vice versa.
Yeah.
You still got you still got Friday night things, trying to get people in, a bit of free food, raffles, all that kind of thing, which again, it's a dying thing, I think.
Oh, it definitely is. And look, since we bought the pub, there's been multiple just around us closed. So the Bayview was down the road, the Terminus, the Railway, they're all no longer there anymore.
Yeah.
But what you find now is that, there's licensed venues everywhere where they didn't used to be.
That's
You
right.
know, restaurants,
Alternatives to pubs,
cafes, all that sort of thing. So the old traditional pub, you know, is dying.
Yeah.
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 It strikes me, and I've got a bit of history in bars, not so much pubs. Like I've worked in pubs, but owned a couple of bars in Geelong. Not anymore, but it more and more I've noticed that pubs and bars are now becoming restaurants that serve alcohol.
Yep.
You know, it strikes me like the two places I'll drink here are breweries, I guess. But I noticed that people are there to eat.
Yep.
Having a drink kind of is just a side onto that. Very, you know, you just don't see people just going out and have a drink anymore like they used to.
Well, you know, since, you know, so as I said, we bought the pub in 91. I actually started working there at around about 94 as a 16-year-old.
Yep.
Just to get, you know, dip my toe in the water, and it was good life experience. Now, what was the public bar back then was smoking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Blokes should have 10 pots and drive home.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, probably rightly or wrongly. And the dining room was half full and the bar was full. Whereas now it's switched sides where the dining room's full and the bar's not.
Yeah.
And that's just the way of the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, people and the younger people aren't drinking either. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Oh,
specifically.
100%. 100%. So, look, they're all health conscious these days. And, you know, we laugh and we got plenty of stories from over the years, but, you know, we've had 30 pot a day blokes, you know, sitting at the bar when it was affordable to do so.
Yeah.
And once those blokes sort of, you know, got old or passed away, they were never replaced.
No.
You know, and that's just, you know, you've got to evolve.
Yeah. Yeah. I had mates like that, you know, like, and I'm probably in my younger days, it was a generation a little before me, I think. My dad's generation in particular. My mum and dad were publicans, and I was born in a pub, you know, myself. So I've got a bit of background to this. But they left the pubs and went farming because my dad got so overweight and out of nick.
Yep.
Drinking the beer and the easy life, being a farmer. He was a farmer here out at Roselet, back at Smarsh, originally the Hine family. And then when they sold the farm, they went into the pubs, and they were very social people, my mum and dad. Smoked, danced, drank, you know. So he drank as much beer at the pub as everybody else. He got huge. So for his health, he had to leave. So he then went farming. But that generation of my dad, and then, you know, the half a generation towards me, you know, it was, and growing up in country towns, mate, you know, like the pub was the centre of the whole social setting. Yeah, there were in small country towns, there probably still aren't in many of them, you know, no restaurants, no other alternatives. The pub provided the booze to the footy club. The footy club would do a dinner dance or, you know, some sort of a cabaret ball, you know. So it all revolved around the local sport and the local pub. And what I miss and what I love about your pub now is that it's unreconstructed physically inside too. So it's still actually, even if there's no one in it, which there always is, but it still feels like the old pubs that I'm used to as a kid. You know, I think that's important too. It's really got an authentic bar feel still. You might be drinking 30 pots and smoking in there, but I love that because even the pubs that haven't closed, they've changed. Most of them, very few of them haven't, you know, refurbed. So they, you know, carpet and poker machines and stuff, and it's not the same feel.
That's right. I mean, pokies are one thing that probably ruined a lot of pubs in Victoria now. But also, I mean, people come in with money, and it's like I said, they turn into a food establishment.
Yeah, look, I mean, we could spend 2 hours on taxes in Victoria, but it's just not affordable now. You know, like for a bloke to sit at the bar and have 20 pots like we talked about, that's $130 a day. Now, if you're a pensioner, you've got no hope of doing that.
No.
Whereas once upon a time, it was affordable.
Yeah.
And it still just keeps going up and up every 6 months. You know, the excise gets put up, and there's no stopping to it.
No.
A bloke's still got their, I think they might have, it looks like it in your pub, they've still got their spots at the bar, their stools, because I felt a bit uncomfortable when I started there on a Friday night. I felt as people coming in, I needed to move. I was in someone's seat, I reckon.
So I've had a group of men that were working at Ford's that are now retired. That if you sat at their table on a Thursday night, you could feel the daggers coming at you. People still have their own bar stools. We're that sort of pub. You know,
it feels like that.
We have the names engraved on their pots. You know, just old traditional stuff that probably most places don't do anymore.
And they're drinking pots, are they?
Look, Our regulars do. Our regulars do. With the handle.
Yeah, of course.
It's a funny one. So up until 15 years ago, you never got asked for a schooner or a pint.
No.
You know, that was a New South Wales thing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's just hit quickly. Which is better for us because, I mean, when we first started, it was 7 ounces.
Yeah, of course.
And it was a lot more work for us because you're filling them up every 3 minutes. Whereas now, if they're drinking larger ones, it's less work.
Yeah.
So you get to stand and talk for a little bit longer.
Yeah. No, well, I grew up, you know, so I started, in the early 70s, when I started going to pubs when I was 18. 73, I was 18, I think. It was all 7-ounce glasses, mate. The publican would drink a pony, which I think was a 6.
5.
And smaller, same shape, you know, the little V-shaped glasses. But pots were unusual. And I think the pint is what we used to call the birthday pot. There was a thing called a birthday pot, which is a big glass. And for your birthday, you buy that and you have to drink it.
Correct.
It was either a pint or a schooner or something, you know. And it was like, it was rare. It sat up on behind the bar and nobody used it on their birthday.
You'd get the dust off it for the next person's birthday,
Exactly. Yeah, I remember, in my late teens drinking in Bendigo, and they wouldn't have had a schooner behind the bar, I don't reckon.
No.
I mean, that was something that they drank up in New South Wales.
Yeah,
It just
exactly.
And even pints, I don't remember anyone ever drinking a pint. Like you said, the pots were the big one.
Yeah.
Because you get the 7 ounces as, you know, I still remember drinking out of those.
Yeah.
You know?
We moved it. Pots became, there was a period where the pot was the probably preferred. It's probably in your business.
Definitely.
You see that transition when they went from the 7s to the pots with the handles in particular for a start. Then they sort of changed a bit and then moved to the schooners. But it's interesting.
It's one of those things you used to judge a pub on how many barrels a week they were doing.
Yeah.
Whereas now they drink everything.
Yes.
You know, all the canned spirits, you know, wines become a lot more popular. I remember having one cask of Brown Brothers behind the bar that had probably sit there for 6 months. Yeah. Whereas now, you know, a lot more wine. So that's another thing probably with this restaurant culture that people are drinking a lot more wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the beers, I remember because, as I said, because I know Mum and Dad, we used to talk about hogsheads, how many hogsheads it was done, and that was how they valued the pub. You know, if you're going to buy a pub, it looked at its how much beer it was selling, because the money was obviously in the draft beer primarily, and often the meals were there to go alongside, not the other way around, as we already said. People didn't go there to eat. The meal was there to sort of make you stay longer and drink more of your draft beer. But it was usually those pubs were sort of Carlton draft pubs or whatever. You know, they were a brewery. I think, I'm not sure, you'll have to explain this to me probably, Chris, but they seemed to deal with a brewery, big brewery, the country pubs, and you didn't have any of the craft beers.
It was only Carlton Draft.
Yeah.
There was Tooheys and stuff wouldn't even been down here.
No.
I remember when Tooheys made a push down, because we used to go to the Bendigo Cup every year.
Yeah.
And shortly, you used to take esky. You take the cheap foam eskies because you never want to take it home with you, and there'd be an ice fight at the end of the day, and everyone would just smash up all the eskies and leave them there. Yeah. But then they changed the rules. Look, I don't know what year. I'm guessing it would have been about 94 or 5 or something like that. Yeah. And they changed the rules so that you couldn't bring your own booze, and then Tooheys came in as a major sponsor. Yeah, it was around that time they were starting to push into the footy club.
My earliest memory is Tooheys sponsored the State of Origin one year.
Oh, yes.
And I think it might have come to Victoria. A game might have been. Yeah. And it was a big influx of Tooheys. We never actually had it on tap. But in saying that, going back to, you know, how you rate a pub, back in the day it was, if you're doing 10 barrels a week, the pub was worth 100,000 for a lease. So it was 10,000 10,000 a keg. That's how it used to be judged. Yeah. So if you're going in to buy or get a lease of a local pub in a town, and it was doing 10 barrels a week, you'd pay 100,000 for the lease.
Nice and simple.
Yep. In those days, there was no spreadsheets or percentages. Yeah. That was as good as you got.
And you hope that you could keep that
going
amount up.
Yeah. Probably in those days you would. Yeah. Typically, unless you were a really shit publican. Yeah. You know, which, I mean, there are some out there, and there are some where you wonder why the hell they're in hospitality or why they're a publican.
Well, it's easily, what you do is you just buy a pub, you throw the till in the morning, and you just make money. That's people's perception of what a publican is, and it's so much more.
Oh yeah. So let's go back. So are you Geelong born and bred? You said
Geelong born and
Copper and
Geelong.
Geelong.
Geelong. Yeah, I grew up in Grovedale, so I haven't ventured ventured out of Geelong. So, been here all my life.
And then you started. You said you were about 16 when.
Yeah, I was still going to school at Grovedale, but yes, just doing a bit of, as I said, life experience. Dad thought it was a great idea. So my sister and I, she's now King's Counsel, so she actually come on to bigger and better things, and I'm still stuck at the pub. Dad still laughs and says that both my kids went before the bar. She passed it and I stayed. And then just been there my whole life. As I said, in '96. We actually took control of the pub, so I was the manager at 18 years of age.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you've been there a long time.
Yeah, so Dad was still a policeman at the time.
Even when he bought it, he bought it as a sort of an interest.
so it
Why
was.
did he buy it? Do you know what
It's a long story. So, one of Dad's best friends, he bought it at auction, and then said, "By the way, Greg, we've just bought a pub," and Dad knew nothing about it. Mum wasn't happy at all. But anyway, long story short, we got into it, and as I said, we were silent partners. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, it got thrust upon us full time in ningsix.
Yeah. Was your dad's mate a copper too?
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Yeah. So, but the way the law went, or still is, that Dad couldn't work the pub as a policeman.
Right.
So he didn't retire until '99. So I actually started there at full time as an 18-year-old, and until he retired in '99, and then we joined forces.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then once he retired, he went behind the bar.
Yeah.
And he was like the publican. Yeah.
Yeah.
And still is the publican on occasions. I see him coming.
Yep.
Yeah.
He became the Basil Fawlty of Geelong. Even looks like him.
Well, he's a tall, thin man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I wouldn't say that about him, but he's probably got the character to carry that off if he wanted to. I suspect what I've seen him.
Yes.
It must, it's an interesting life growing up in a pub. I guess you don't know any different. It's your life, but I mean, what's it like being an 18-year-old or 16-year-old pretty much living in a pub, not living there, but you're there a lot of the time. You're seeing a lot of.
I look back now and wonder how I ever got through it.
Yeah.
Because pubs in those days were quite rough.
Yeah.
We're the Terminus across the road, which was Geelong's only topless bar.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you can imagine the clientele that were across the road.
Yeah.
And they used to go back and forth across the road. So there was some pretty undesirable people. And the Hotham was a wharfies pub when we first took over.
Yeah, okay.
So the waterfront was going pretty... it was pretty rough and ready.
Yeah.
So I look at my son now, who's just turned 20, and he's 6'3", and I look and I say, he's not ready for what I did back then, but you just did it.
Yeah.
You just did it. And then now you sit back and you wonder how.
Yeah. So when you say what you did, you're like basically kicking people out, but bashing some heads if they needed to go to toilet lesson, or
Yeah, look, your best form of defence as a barman is your mouth.
Yeah.
Because if you want to fight, you fight every day.
Yeah.
And eventually you're going to lose.
Yeah. So you're going to wear out.
Yeah. Even up to now, most people you can talk.
Yeah.
And reason. There's always the one that you can't, but there's plenty of stories, and I've lost plenty of fights, and it's just the way it was.
It's interesting you should say that, because my dad was very, very, very good with people. He's a very good publican. Both mum and dad were very good at it. They could drink too.
Yep.
But they're very sociable. And I can remember one night at a cabaret ball at the footy club was running the hall, got gate crashed by the next village over. The football team, it was not the whole team.
We're talking Inglewood and Bridgewood.
No, this is down in Western Victoria. Okay. This is at Karamat.
Because I know they ran Inglewood pub, right?
Yeah, that's where I was born, at Inglewood. They had the railway at Inglewood. Yeah, that's where I was born.
There,
and they had the Avoca Forest Hotel, the Logan pub. That's quite a famous pub in Central Victoria as well. But then they, after they'd been left the pub, this is in Karamat where Dad went back farming, managing a farm down there. But these boys turned up, half a dozen of these big buff-headed footballers from, they'd already had a bit to drink to gate crash this bloody thing. And my dad, who's like my size, a small guy, not a big guy at all, he's just, gone straight over, like hand on the shoulder, knew them through doing the bar at the Polo over there and all this sort of stuff. He's chat. People just watching, chat. And they just turned around and walked out, And it was no issue. No issue. Exactly what you said, you know. But just being able to just hose it all down, that's 95% of it's just being able to talk people.
Yep.
Most people are reasonable, you know. You get the odd one, but yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I think I miss about not owning a bar is just the it becomes like your extended family, doesn't it? The regulars, you know, and it's hard to walk away from that. You do miss that. Yeah, you must have some great characters at the pub over the years.
Well, when COVID hit,
yeah.
Now because we're an old school bar, we've got a lot of blokes that are single men in their 70s.
Yeah.
Now they were housebound for we'll close for 175 days over COVID.
Yeah.
So against the rules, I'd go and pick them up on a Saturday and bring them to my house.
Yeah.
To your house, not the pub.
No,
but to your house.
To my house.
You had a temper or barrel or something.
We just had eskies there. Just because you're so many people's outlet.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden, if those people had nothing, that we were just worried about them.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, plenty of characters over the years. And yeah, I always say I'll probably put pen to paper once everything's said and done, and maybe a bit of therapy out of it, to be honest. But
you might need your KC sister there. Yeah, have a proof of that before you publish it.
Yeah, 100%. She does worry about me. But yeah, it's plenty of stories over the years. I remember one that the Gangland War was happening in Melbourne. And the Piranha Task Force met two underworld figures in the public bar, and I didn't know.
Oh, at
our pub, because what our pub was, because they used to meet in public places, and all of a sudden, 2-3 weeks later, those blokes commit a murder of an underworld figure, and now they're doing jail.
Really?
So yeah, at the time, just the way of things happened.
You don't know who's in there, what's going on, what
Correct.
deals are getting done.
Yeah.
Were they regular customers? No,
it was just a meeting.
They just arranged that spot as a meeting.
Just arranged that spot as a meeting. Yeah.
That was ahead of what they.
Yep.
So obviously there's some intel of what was about to go down.
Correct.
But
yeah,
went down anyway.
Yep.
Shit.
Yeah. When I saw the photos, I went, that was what they were doing.
Yeah. Well, that worked well.
Yeah.
Yeah. The things that happens inside the walls of a pub.
Yeah.
And yeah, you mentioned it is a solace for a lot of, single blokes in particular, or blokes in particular, a pub or a bar. I certainly knew that from running them. And, people think, oh, well, drink of booze is bad for you and whatever, this, that, and the other, get over it. But it's more than about the booze, isn't it? It's about just a place to go and meet like-minded people, or not even talk. Some blokes just go there and just have a few beers and don't even want to talk.
Well, it's funny, 'cause I've got one of my regular customers who's a good friend of mine, and he says, about mental health at the moment. Mental health's such a big thing. That because people in their 20s and 30s don't go to pubs as much as what he used to. That was a space where you could sit down and talk to people, and all of a sudden get off your chest what you needed to when you went on about your rest of your week. Whereas now us men go home, and we don't communicate. Yeah. So, it's everything to people, And
I think if you don't have the pub, you got the more potential that you drink more at home. Because, I like going to the pub because I'll go and have a couple of pints and then I'll come home and I don't have, I try not to keep beer in the fridge at home.
Yep.
So it's kind of like my cutoff point, Whereas if you're just at home, it's just easy, just get on it,
It's interesting because, Scott and I talk about this a bit, sort of as you get up, a bit older as well, for me in particular. You've got to watch the intake a bit. I don't get on it to the extent that I did once. Got to be a bit more careful. I don't want to be drinking. Now I'm not working. There's no reason not to drink. You can drink every day. So I said, well, what I try and do is not drink every day. Try not to drink during the week and have some drinks on the weekend. I think the next step along your lines might be just drink at the pub, Brian.
Yeah.
Don't drink at home at all. So if you do want to drink, go down, sit down with a few blokes, have 3 or 4 beers on a Saturday afternoon, meet some blokes at the bar. A pub like yours, just sit at the bar. Because that's as important as... It's not the alcohol intake itself that you sort of relax having a drink, but to be doing it with a couple of mates around, just a couple of beers in the pub, is way healthier than sitting at home drinking. I think. And
it was like, we bring her up a bit. Mary O'Brien, one of our guests, and she talks a lot about men's mental health, and she said, women talk face to face, men talk shoulder to shoulder. That's why they like standing at the footy, watching the local footy, or going to a bar and sitting at the bar and having
Yeah, definitely.
Because they can open up, whereas they wouldn't do it if they were sitting in a more formal kind of.
Especially on the fourth or the fifth pot, they tend to get a little bit more honest.
A little bit out. Yeah. So I don't know how much of this you want to go into, Chris, but the Hotham has a little bit of a checkered past too, perhaps. You've been in a little bit of physical danger there yourself, and there's been some incidents there. Did you want to able to kind of go over that? You've got a certain type of resident living upstairs. Is that fair to say?
So it's evolved over the years.
Yeah.
So as I said, such a long time. So I think we're nearly one of only 2 or 3 that's still got accommodation available as a pub in the CBD. Once upon a time, they all had it. Right. The Carlton hotels now closed. They had 40 odd rooms. We've got 12. So once upon a time, it was for the worker. So the bloke that moved, that had work in Geelong, needed somewhere to stay Monday to Friday, went home on the weekends. So it was one of those sort of places that, was, just somewhere for someone to put their belongings, a bed to sleep at night and go to work in the morning. Whereas now, with what's sort of gone on over the last 20 years with, we're talking about mental health, we talk about affordability for cost of living. So the person that is on a dole or a disability, what are their chances of getting a unit? When they're up against 10 or 12 or 15 people, well, they're at the bottom of the pecking order. So one thing we've done over the years, and I would say, I'd hate to know the amount of people we've had stay up over the years. It'd be in the thousands and thousands. So, for instance, if you walk in off the street and say, Chris, can I have a room? I've got to sum you up in 2 minutes. There's no not resume, but, history, I've just got to, you just give me the story of why you need to have a room, and I've got to say, so out of those thousands and thousands of people, we've had 2 incidents, and there've been 2 pretty bad ones, and one recently. However, if we turn those thousands and thousands of people away, they're all living on the street. So we think that, that we're doing, a good thing for people. And we try our best, but in the end of the day, we can't control everybody. And as we say, mental health, the last incident that happened at the pub, which...
So a bloke was stabbed to death recently. What are we talking? A year, 18 months? Something?
And I can't speak too much about it because it still hasn't been through the court process. It was something that we just didn't see coming. So, and a terrible thing to happen. But it's just it's hard out there for people, even in, the CBD has just changed so much in the last 30 years. There was no homelessness or very little in the CBD. People are staying away from the CBD now because there's people just in the streets.
I wanted to ask you about that because your pub is in the CBD. I mean, I guess it's kind of on the edge of it, but you would have seen a lot of changes. I know I had, to go over it again, I had 2 bars in the CBD, so I saw in the time I was there, which is 6 or 7 years, I saw a lot of change. So you must have seen it in 30 odd years.
Well, I still remember as an 18, 19-year-old, I'd finish work, I'd go upstairs and get changed and go out as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old does in the CBD and walk back home at night. I don't know if I'd do that now. I know I'm a big bloke, I'm 6'4", so, but it's just a changing landscape. It's just, and not for the better.
No.
What
do you reckon that is? I mean, it's fair. I mean, it's drugs is a big part of it, right? The ice and that kind of thing. That's got to play a big part of it. But
they're just so unpredictable. We talk about using our mouth and being able to talk a drunk down or or negotiate something. The drugs, since it's come in, they're just so unpredictable, and they don't feel pain.
Yeah.
Yes.
and their strength's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, so it's just, that it's a worrying thing. And even now, you know, someone walks in the bar, you see the door, you hear the door go, you still, and you're on edge, you sum someone up pretty quickly. 99.9 times it's fine.
Yeah.
But you just got to cover yourself.
Yeah.
Because, and then there's such a fine line between, are they on drugs? Do they have a mental health issue? You know, because sometimes they're hard to tell apart.
Yeah. So somebody explained to me just recently the change in the nature of the injuries as a result of like assaults on the back of the drug stuff that you're talking about. And
We had Rob Litsky, remember, and he was talking about domestic violence.
Yeah.
He was talking about the difference between
that's where it
alcohol-driven
was.
domestic violence
Correct.
and drug-driven,
drugs, yeah.
because he said that it's basically psychotic.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, alcohol-fueled violence is not good,
Yeah.
but it's more, like you said, it's more
The
predictable.
black eye,
Yeah.
the black eyes turned into like dislocated cheekbones and smashed, fractured skulls.
Yeah.
They don't ease up on the violence. Like,
Yep.
loss. Yeah. Well, any violence is bad, I know, but that's an element of these drugs, it seems. Feeling no pain, loss of any sort of sense of reasonableness at all. It's frightening.
But just back on the accommodation part, we still, you know, like there have been a really good success stories from it. You know, people that were sort of a little bit down and out, maybe went through a marriage separation, weren't at the top of their game, and they'll come back years later and say, look, I really appreciate what you did for me.
Wow.
You know, might have been that 1 month, it might have been 6 months, you know, for them to be able to get themselves back on track. So we read about the 2 incidents, but we don't see about the you know the hundreds of positive stories.
Yeah. Well, I know my mum and dad split up a number of times as I grew up, and at least twice of those times, Dad went into a caravan park. I think that's kind of the other option, isn't it?
For sure.
You know, if there's not a pub, you know, it's a caravan park, and there's a lot of single.
Yep.
Living in those as well. Yeah. So it is important for people to have somewhere to go. I do want to just touch on that. No, were one of these attacks on yourself as well? Have you been attacked personally with a knife or?
No, look, I did. This is years ago, but you wouldn't have read about it.
No, okay.
It was. It was. Oh, my sister was working with me, so a long time ago. I would have been in my teens, and just a bloke staying upstairs. Drank in the bar, seemed okay, and then just the switch flipped, and it was just one of those ones. I had the door locked, but luckily, it was just something that but it makes you who you are.
Yeah.
You know, like I see myself now being able to handle most challenges.
Yeah.
And I reckon it probably helped my sister too.
Yeah.
You know, that life experience.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden you just got to be you're street smart.
Yeah.
And you're ready for anything.
Yeah.
And hopefully you don't have to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got. I've done a lot of different things in my working life. At one point, I was worked in child protection.
Yeah.
And there are some very important and skilled protective behaviours you'll learn about where to be and where not to be and where to sit yourself in a room and all those sort of things and looking around for objects. So that sort of stuff would be absolutely ingrained to you naturally now.
Yep.
You're not likely to put yourself in what could become a dangerous position. You'll know that.
Yep.
Won't you? It just sort of becomes a sort of second sense, doesn't it?
Well, I had a little bit of an incident a few weeks ago, and it wasn't too bad, but it was an incident. And anyway, closed the doors at the end of the night and had my son working with me, and I got him to talk through what had happened, and I said, "There's one thing you missed," and he said, "What?" I said, "Sometimes the quietest bloke in the corner is the most dangerous, right?" And you took your eye off him, and if that's just you learn those things, because
experience,
So all of a sudden, don't always focus on the loudest person, because they're not always the most dangerous.
And alcohol can turn people, like some people react differently to alcohol. I've seen people who were completely fine and they just go like that after one extra drink. I mean, we were serving some pretty heavy beers because we're doing the craft beer thing. So some of our beers were 7-8%. And people might not realise that. So,
I know.
And
it'll just quickly.
One drink they're fine. And then the next drink they're not fine. And we had I wasn't actually there that night, but there was a night where one of our kind of semi-regulars was there with his wife, and he just must have hit it, and then he just went from fine, really lovely, quiet bloke who's quite a regular there, to just losing his shit, and he ended up vomiting under the table, right, and then the barman at the time probably didn't handle it very well. He went to clean up, and the guy's, I'll help. And then the barman said, no, piss off, and this guy just lost it. Just wrestling, and then we had the turntables there on the bar at the end of the bar. He karate chopped one of them. Yeah. Anyway, the next day he must have slid a note under the door or something to apologise. And I said, mate, all good and well, you pay for the, I appreciate that you've apologised, you made the effort, but he was horrified that he'd done it. So sometimes you just don't, like I said, the quietest bloke in the corner can be the one that can just flip.
And we talk about different types of drunks, the ones that get angry, and some get sad, some get funny, that every alcohol affects, like it's any sort of mind changing chemical, isn't it? I guess people respond differently to it.
My father and I laugh because we always say there should be 2% of society that should be tattooed on my head, do not give me alcohol. But probably the changing thing now is the mid strength. So mid strength beer is probably, if not overtaken heavy.
Yeah, isn't it popular?
Yes.
It's so popular.
Yes, even with the young kids.
Yeah, you know, with the young kids.
And I think it's the change for the better.
Yeah, good.
Even our regulars now that were heavy beer people, they've changed to mid-strength.
Yeah.
And they still have as good a time.
Yeah.
So we're talking about those high percentage beers, and you don't know, especially like you're talking about homebrew. People don't even know what percentage their beer is.
No.
But that some people, maybe the way of the world, will become the mid-strength beer.
Yeah. Well, we're talking earlier about the absence of sort of any craft beers, and it was just heavy beers. But then light beer came in when I was a kid. They started to.
Well, you say you have a heavy or light, but the light
heavy or light, yeah.
Carlton Light,
the light
was a mid-strength.
Felt basically almost soft. Like it was very, very light though.
Carlton Light, I think, was a mid-strength, wasn't it? And then they brought in like light ice or something, which was a
no. I've still got Carlton Light. That's a light beer.
That's a light beer.
No, that's a light beer. I've got it. So I've got a 24-hour-a-day locksmith that only drinks Carlton Light. So I've got a slab of that in the fridge for him every time he comes in. Yeah. But my earliest memory was light ice.
Yeah.
Light ice come on tap.
Yeah.
And Foster's Special.
Okay.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember that one.
Yeah. But in those days, it was heavy or light.
Yeah.
There was no mid-strength.
No.
Yeah.
I had a great mate. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but he's a clerk of courts. Great drinkers. I don't know whether you're near the courthouse there, but you got that legal fraternity, that love and drink.
Yes.
The coppers, the courts, in country towns.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Great for the local pubs. Hinksy used to tell me, he said, you can drink as much of this fucking stuff as you like, mate, it won't hurt you. And he'd drink light, and he'd drink it and drink it. He said, you can't get pissed on it, Heine. Just keep drinking it. So he's like, that was the Carlton Light, which that's the guy at the locksmith you talk about. You could probably drink it and stay under 05 all day.
Yeah.
The light, 2.5% lighter, you would. Yeah, just about.
I think see, it just depends on how quick you drink it. So if you drink three of those, if you drink 3 of those light beers to your one, well, it's the same.
Yeah.
So, it depends on how hard you drink it.
Yeah. I got breathalyzed once coming home from cricket, and I'd had 2 stubbies of light. Came off the ground, had 2 stubbies of light beer. Bang, bang. Like in no time. Got in the car and drove home to get changed. Breathalyzed, pulled over. Copper asked me what's going on. I told him. He said, just pull over and wait there. He did a few more cars. He came back, tested me again, said, you're right to go.
Yeah.
It was all in my mouth.
Mouth alcohol.
Yeah. And it was light anyway.
Yeah.
And it was gone, within probably 10 minutes, So, interesting.
Yeah. No, it's really it's interesting. Yeah, like you said, it's a social thing. So if you can drink something that you're gonna stay stand up for a lot longer, and it doesn't affect you as badly, then great. I mean, I think Great Northern's the biggest selling beer in Australia now, isn't it?
Well, I actually just took it off.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So we've only got 6 taps in our public bar. So we had we've still got the Carlton Dry 3.5.
Yeah.
And we had the Great Northern on, and we just
drinks that all the time.
And we just thought we'll just put them head to head, and see which one we sell more, and we'll take the one off that we don't.
Yeah.
And it was 9 pots to 1.
Yeah. Right.
So the Great Northern just went.
Yeah,
I do notice a lot of blokes drinking that 3.5. Say the local footy now, or whatever.
My bloke drinks that all the time now. And it's everywhere on.
Well, it's
draft, which is
it's less calories, so that's why the blokes get on it.
Yeah.
And what's it 3.5? So what's a standard heavy beer? 4.7 or something? Or
4.9.
Yeah, 4.9.
Okay. So it's quite a bit lighter, but it's not light beer. So you still got to be a bit careful.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, it's not so much that the drink on that night, it's when they wake up to drive the next day. So if you have a big session on heavy, it's not just that night that probably cancels you out. It's the next morning. So it just gives you
be over.
Yeah, it sort of just gives you that flexibility the next morning to be able to not have to worry.
Yeah.
I just want to. Can we go back to the accommodation for a minute? I just want to talk a bit about the model.
Sure.
Interesting. It's an interesting sort of story that you tell there about the people that you've helped through. So is it like the old days, like full board and lodging, meals without meals, a rate for a night, a rate for a week, a month, a 6 month? How do you, I don't need the actual rate.
Yep.
How do you
So once upon a time, it was a nightly rate.
Yep.
And only because that's just, people were looking for a night, accommodation.
Yeah.
We've got 12 rooms.
Yeah.
And then it sort of evolved for the fact, so we've had someone live up there now for 19 years.
The same person?
The same person.
Still there?
Still there.
Shit.
So he was a milkman in Geelong. Don't have the circumstances on why he moved into the pub, but he's been there for 19 years.
Wow.
So all
Does he have a beer?
Not down in the bar.
I wondered about that. No, so he doesn't drink there.
No.
Interesting, isn't it? Yeah,
so all of a sudden, the nightly accommodation sort of dried up, and people were looking for semi-permanent accommodation.
Yeah.
So the week to a month to 3 months.
Longer term stuff.
Now, about 12 rooms upstairs now, I think 6 of them have been over there over 2 years.
Yeah.
So you get a regular client base. So, people, and they're there because, and I don't know their circumstances, they may be applying for units or houses or whatever, but they're just not successful.
Yeah.
So once they get a place to stay, they don't want to leave for the fact that, it's a bit of a gamble if they do.
Well, you think about if you're let's say a bloke coming out of a divorce or a separation or whatever, you might have owned your own house for 30 years. You don't have any rental history.
No.
That
would be easy to find it.
Yeah,
to get a rental property.
Yeah, you got nothing to sort of work with. So and we know how difficult it is to get decent rentals these days. So
So is it bed only, bed and breakfast, bed and dinner?
Bed only.
It's bed only.
Bed
that's
only.
Right. So you pay for your bed. Please yourself where you eat and whatever.
Correct.
You'll do a breakfast. Do you do brekkies?
No.
No brekkies.
No,
there,
once upon a time we did.
Yeah.
We had a breakfast room and that was all included. But these guys are all sort of, self-sufficient. So they just know that once they pay their rent, they've got no electricity, no water, nothing like that.
Yeah.
The rest of their money's theirs and they can do so the way they want to.
Yeah. So they get the meals wherever.
Yeah.
You do meals there though. You do do you lunch and
Do lunch, lunch and dinner. It's 5 days a week. So
and you've got a big gluten-free menu. That's not something I would have expected at that pub. Is there a personal reason for that? Or?
So my father, who's never had a good idea in a long time, he was having a beer with a bloke at another pub who was a baker. Yeah. And he said to my dad, look, I'm just getting into gluten-free stuff. It's going to be the next boom. Yeah. Just keep your eye on it. Now, Dad sort of took that on board, rolled with it, and we're a lot of our trade is gluten-free, and we're because we're very, very safe with what we do, separate fries, all stuff like that, separate cooking areas. We've got a bit of a niche there and a bit of a cult following.
Okay. So people, gluten-free people can
and look, it's just one of those ones, you never used to hear of it.
No.
But even blokes in their 60s and 70s are now being diagnosed.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's just one of those ones that... And if you can help them out, you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I try and avoid it. Obviously, for someone, it's a bit of a silly thing to say for someone who likes beer as much as me, but I like to pick my poison, so I try to keep the gluten out of the food, so I can still have a beer. But
there's gluten in beer, I guess. There's because it's grain based.
But they do make it. They do make some gluten-free beers now.
Okay.
A brewery called Two Bays down on the Morning Peninsula. They're probably the best one.
Hahn does one, which is popular with us. But there is one. But otherwise, celiacs drink cider.
Yeah, exactly.
So cider's there. Cider's normally their choice.
Cider, that's just too sweet.
I can't find one dry. I can't find one dry enough for me. I don't dislike it, but I couldn't have a session on it. I can have one.
Yeah.
But
Or
yeah,
ginger beer as well, I can maybe have a ginger beer, but
Yeah.
like, after a couple.
Hard to have a
Too
second.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I said to Brian that this might be a bit of a conversation to halves because your other obviously love is footy.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're currently the coach of Inverleigh Hawks.
Yes.
So you must have. So you must be a bit of a legend in that club, I imagine. 2023 was that the first year you took over as a senior coach?
Yeah, like I took over halfway through that year.
Halfway through.
The coach at the time, which was a very good friend of mine, Adam Donahue, had just wanted to concentrate on playing. He was a playing coach. I was on the bench with him. I was doing the bench for him at the time with a couple of my other close friends. And
You weren't playing at the time?
no, my playing career was long gone. I'm 48 now, so it was just one of those ones. I'd previously coached Anarchy, where I used to play, and sort of parted ways with them during COVID, and was back at the pub and wasn't going to be coaching footy anymore. I'd done it for a long time. It was about time I really went back to the pub to concentrate on it full time. And Adam rang me and said, "Would you mind helping me on a part-time basis?" Which I'd never, and they play in the same league, so they're a bit of a rival. So I met with them. It was actually during COVID. It was something to do, and I liked what they said, so I was happy with the part-time role. And then, 23, halfway through the year, he'd had enough, so I took over, and we ended up not dropping a game and winning the flag, which was great.
You took over pretty much.
Yeah, it was.
Right.
It was just
So without putting any, without taking anything away from your mate, I mean, did something change? Did you?
Oh, look, it was. You can't put your finger on it. Adam was a great coach. It was nothing to do with anything that I did. It was just you need a lot of luck, and we just had luck.
Yeah.
It was a great time. The footy club hadn't won one in such a long time, so it was
25 years or something.
Yeah, it was good for them. I think it was I think it might have been 35.
Oh yeah.
It was good for them, and they'd lost a few grand finals before that. So I was happy for the club, and then it was one of those ones that once you won it, it was hard to sort of walk away from.
How did the granny go? Who did you play? And how?
We
talk us
played
through the game briefly.
We played Thompson, and we pretty much won from go to woe.
Right,
so it was a
hit
pretty
all day.
lit all day.
Good win.
Yeah, it was a real good win. I think it was about 50 odd points. So it was good.
In the bed the whole day. What a day.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
So it's
nice for the coach. You're on top all through the day, not too stressful.
We'll talk about with the pub. Footy coaching for me is just a chance for me to get out. You're in once upon a time a smoky bar all day, and I used to love going to when I was playing, going to footy training because it was an outlet, and then
smoke out of your lungs.
And you're in conversations with people all day, that are under the influence or drinking grog. Yeah. So it's good to get out on someone and talk to people that are on your same wavelengths. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I finished playing and I thought I'm going to miss it, so I got into coaching. But I didn't think I'd still be coaching now. But it's just one of those things that I enjoy.
Yeah, and a bit tougher now.
Oh, look, as I said, 23. We just had a lot of things that go right. You need a lot of luck. A little bit got a few injury worries at the moment. But I still enjoy it. I do it for the players, because I've coached two clubs that are towns. That's sort of the lifeblood of the town. Yeah. When things are going right, I need to ice my back because I've had so many pats on it. And when things are going bad, I probably got to ice it, but it's only because I'm getting stuck in the back with something,
Got to pull the knife out of
it. Look, I mean, they're passionate supporters. Yeah. So when things go wrong, it's normally my fault. But when things go right, maybe it's mine and the players.
Yeah.
And so it's Inverleigh that you coach.
Correct.
Great pub out there.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful old pub.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that is the lifeblood of a town.
Yeah,
it's the meeting place for the farmers, for everyone in the community to be able to get together. And I think their Friday nights are quite popular.
Yeah.
There's just that, especially during the during the season of footy, so that that's their night on the Friday night, and then they go to the footy of a Saturday. Yeah. But it's one of those, and it's on a massive block.
Yeah.
I think I think someone will do something really big with it one day. It's one of those. It's a sleeper of a town. It's one of those ones that will go boom real quick. Bannockburn got quick. Got big quickly. And I think Inverleigh.
Is Inverleigh still in Geelong Council?
No, it's Scotland Plains.
Okay. So when they turn their attention to it, and I've seen what's happened here in Torquay. Like it was a town of 7,000 permanent residents. Probably in summer it'd get to 30,000 because there's so many holiday houses. So when we moved here 17 years ago, 7,000. It's now 30,000. And once the council decides that's where they want growth to go, that's when it goes boom. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. I live in Belmont, but I very rarely come this way. I'm either going to footy training in Inverleigh or I'm going to work, and I wouldn't have been in Torquay for probably 18 months. And you just go, wow, this is just, where am I?
KFC, what's you want now, and fucking Zambreros and 7 they've just popped up in the last 12 months.
Amazing.
And it's funny when you talk about, the big boom in population, it affects local footy.
Well, yes, it does.
Excuse me. So, all of a sudden when you're talking about 7,000 people and Torquay being in the Bellarine League, now it's nearly outgrowing the Bellarine League because it's such a big town.
Well, now we've got a second team here.
Yes.
So the Suns, which I've started following. I've become a member and started following because I've got my weekends back because I've been working in bars or in real estate for the last 17 years or so. So finally I got my weekends regularly back. So I wanted to follow a local team, and I've never liked the Tigers for whatever reason. So it's great to have a second local team. Instant rivalry. Obviously the Suns have got a little way to go before they're regularly competitive, but they'll get there. But it seems like a good club. Like I don't really know anyone up there. I mean, we had the president, Jay Williams, on the podcast a while back, but I'll go up there and just watch the game, have a couple of beers, but you hear the banter, and there's a lot of support for the club. They've only they've had one win and gotten close against Ocean Grove, but they're pretty obviously going to lose most of the games. But they have a crack, and the team and the crowd gets behind them. You can see already there's a bit of a community building around.
And a whole new footy club. Like, what a great thing.
Were you at the first game?
No, I didn't even know there was a club. Like, I'd never even heard of it, and I only saw the results.
I saw the footage of it, and it was just amazing of how many people were there.
Jay said that. An enormous crowd. They put a gate. They took a gate that day. It was well worth doing it.
And it's affected local footy because obviously clubs in the north, where they were, it was a young demographic. They're now an old demographic. And these are the towns, and you keep going around, and your Port Arlingtons and your Queenscliffs and your Bowen Heads are now a younger demographic. And that's where the big boom's going to be in football.
Well, because also the other side of it, not just the population, but because of the size of the Tigers they've got something like 90 teams or something crazy like that when you take into account, women and juniors and all of that. And a lot of those players are coming up, and then there's only like 22 players in a senior team. So they've got nowhere to go. They're going to leave the town. So to have a second club gives them an opportunity as well to stay in Torquay and to play for a local side.
Well, especially, even I as a coach now, we've got one under-18 team at Inverleigh, and you've got to create a pathway for these kids because, they become, part of the family, and all of a sudden if there's not room for them to come into either reserves or senior footy, they get lost to footy. So, and it must be like my sister's the president of St Mary's Footy Club. And, they're probably the biggest club in Geelong, and I talked to her on how they go about providing a pathway for people going forward. So it's a tough gig.
Well, it's great to see a whole new club emerge, because we talk a lot about local footy, and we're local footballers, country footballers ourselves way back in the day, and we're so often seeing teams amalgamate or disappear. To see a whole new team emerge, it's a real sign of what's going on in the demographics around this part of the state, isn't it? You can actually support a whole brand new football team. It's fantastic. Because further west, they're struggling to keep the sides together, leagues together. So
well, money's killed footy.
Like money at the top.
So I'll give an example. If I've got a player playing for Inverleigh that's on $200 a game, the further he goes into the country, he could get up to 1,000, 1,500 a game.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And that's just ridiculous.
The incredible money involved.
And then you look at, for this 24-year-old, I call them kids, who wants to buy a block of land, who wants to build a house, have a family. It's hard to turn that money down.
Absolutely. And while you're young and fit, and if you've got the skills to do it, you can pull it. You can't blame them.
And also, these days, if you've got a mortgage for 600,000-700,000 and you get injured of a Saturday, it's a big risk to take.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're a tradie or something. But, that's absolutely true in the country, but there's only some clubs that can afford it as well. So you've got these leagues where you've got this great divide between the clubs can afford to pay for those players and those that can't, don't you? And you're seeing these clubs that haven't had a win in two, sometimes 3 years. Or you're getting what's happening in Bendigo League with Broadford getting flogged by over 200 points every week. And so you're seeing these great gaps in these leagues, which is not sustainable, is it really?
It's not. But what get lost in sort of transition, and look, you want to be competitive as a football club. But they're the lifeblood of the town.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much more that happens than just the scoreboard at the end of a game. We don't want to see blowouts at 200 points. But if you can have a competitive game of footy and the kid off the farm comes in and enjoys his Tuesday, Thursday and his Saturday and the people get to meet around the ground and we talk about having a beer or having a coffee or whatever, it's so much more than just a scoreboard, and that gets lost in translation a little bit.
I went up to last weekend. I went camping up in Newbridge and watched the Newbridge versus Bridgewater game. Two great rivals in the Loddon Valley League. And when I last played footy, it was under 18s, but it was for Bridgewater. And so I've been wanting to go up and watch one of their games. And you can camp pretty much on the rec reserve. It's fantastic by the Loddon River runs the side. But they had that Carlton draft thing going on with Gary Abbott Jr. playing for Newbridge. And the buzz around the place was anywhere you want. They're talking that went the general store or the pub or whatever. They're talking about the game on Saturday. You go there, you up for the game, and there wouldn't have been 5,000 people, but there would have been 3,500, I reckon, at a rough guess. It was a big day, and for that club, massive day for that club. It was big, probably bigger than a Loddon Valley Grand Final day. And it just I think just brings a lot more a spark back to the whole country footy thing, to have someone like, one of the greatest players to, a Hall of Famer to be running around on the park. The bloke that was playing on him must have been pinching himself wondering what the hell was going on.
Probably one of my bugbears now is that AFL players get paid a lot of money. They get paid a lot of money. And I'd love them, to be more of that with no price tag on it. I'll go and help a struggling club. I'll play a game. I'll bring my mate with me. And all of a sudden, that might pay for that footy club for the year.
Absolutely.
And save the club. So or you'd hope that some of these AFL stars go back to their grassroots club, to their junior club.
Absolutely.
And help them out in some form. Because,
it's a massive boost to them. I mean, Nick Del Santo was playing for Bridgewater. It was meant to be Gary Rowan, but the points thing didn't work out or whatever. He had too many points. But, I noticed that, Nick Del Santo was before the game, they did a TV interview or something. Then he just wandered around saying g'day to people. G'day, I'm Nick, that's pretty gracious, He doesn't have to do that, but he does, because he obviously loves footy. He loves local footy. He remembers where he comes from. And So, I mean, what are the other challenges you see with local footy other than, this sort of divide with money and stuff? Like, is this young bloke still playing it enough? Or is it soccer taking from it?
No, I think there'll always be footy. I think numbers are pretty good in football. I think probably one thing that's sort of crept in, over the last period of time is I think parents need to pull up a little bit.
Okay.
I think
helicopter parents, you mean, like just overbearing and?
I just think I've got friends in the umpire department. It's you got to work out why you want kids to play football. Now, then only the small percentage of them are going to make the AFL. They're not all superstars.
Yeah, that's right.
So just ease up on kids. Let them enjoy themselves. Let them be kids. And I say that to junior coaches as well. You got plenty of time to be a senior footballer and live and breathe it and get me to yell at them and all that sort of thing. But kids should enjoy footy,
Yeah.
you know, and not have overbearing parents. You know, like it's about enjoyment, and I think that's got a little bit lost over the period. I think these powerful clubs that, you know, have got a lot of junior football, parents are taking them there because they think they're going to. The Falcons going to look at them more if they're there. Well, the Falcons won't look at them because, unfortunately, they're not very good footballers. But just let kids be kids.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I think that's a big part of, and it frustrates me as probably a senior coach a little bit. Not so much at Inverleigh, but just when I go around and have a look, and you know, luckily my kids are out of junior footy now because I used to stand on the other side of the oval because I just wanted my kid to enjoy himself.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't about winning or losing.
Yeah. It's tough on umpires. It's tough on coaches. You know, I coached a lot of junior cricket. It's the same things apply. Your parents that come and drop their kids off and piss off, you know, and they're the first ones to complain. My kid's not being given a go, and they're not involved at all in the organisation of the game. You know, they're the worst parents of all.
Yeah,
and you know, anybody who's giving their time to coach and loves the sport, like I love my cricket. You know, I love coaching. I love just kids learning the game and enjoying the beautiful game that it is. And it's not about winning, and it's not about getting the best results. You know, you want the kids to enjoy their time out there. So you're giving everybody the best go you can. You know, I had about, I don't know, 18 kids on my list, you know, to get into 11 every week, you know, in bloody under 15 cricket. And it's like, geez, you know, you're trying to work them around. And the parents there's still parents that are getting up you. You know, my kid's not getting a go and think, geez, you want to come and have a go.
Well, you're a cheap babysitter, aren't you? Really? And that's what it becomes down to.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it is.
They can go off and have a latte or bloody walk their dog or something while their kids run around. I mean, when our daughter played sport, I just wanted to play a team sport. You know, I was like, she ended up choosing basketball, which I was, you know, grateful for because I liked the game. I played it myself, and so it was good to actually go to watch her play something you understood and could help out in a bit of a coaching role. But for me, it was just about being part of a team. She's an only child, and so in particular was get out there, learn what it is to be part of a team. I don't care what sport it is, I don't care how well you go at it, just go out and have a crack, you know. And she played till about 16 and then decided, sport's not for me. That's when it starts getting a bit serious and the boys get bigger and, you know, it starts getting a bit rougher. And
you learn so much around clubs, you know, what's acceptable and what's not, you know, and it's good character building being around team. And even now, like, I think my best friends are people I've met through local sport, you know, and they're lifelong friends. It's more the friendships you can make. In those clubs, and the bonds you form.
And that you're right. Just forming, and I guess that's what keeps you going back week in, week out, as the body gets sore, and you know you're staying in coaching because you want to be involved in that camaraderie and that teamship
and that culture around a club.
Around a club,
fantastic.
But even now, it's like you know, I get ex-players or current players come up and say, "Oh, I just bought my first house," or "I just had my first child," and you feel proud of them, you know, because they become your kids. You know, not so much by blood, but you know, you look after them. You're there for a coffee if they need something. You know, you become a sort of bit of a mentor to them, or someone that they can, you know, come and when times are tough. You know, so I get just as much kick out of that as what I do is winning games.
So I mean, they're kind of related, aren't they, really? Footy clubs and pubs, and it's all kind of, it's a similar story. There's those friendships you make, and, you know, I've from the bars we had, I've now got mates who are going to be lifelong, you know, mates. That I wouldn't have ever met if I hadn't owned that bar, you know?
And the beauty now of social media, you can keep in touch. You know what I mean? They don't get lost in translation. It's just, you know, you can look them up and say, and catch up and you know, meet somewhere.
When you were playing, Chris, I think you grew up at Grovedale, but did you say you played at Anarchy?
I played all my junior footy at Grovedale. And Dad was a bit of a legend at Anarchy.
Oh, he was a footballer.
And our pub was the major sponsor of Anarchy. So I grew up with all the players coming in, and so 96 being that period where all of a sudden we lost Dad's partner at the pub. The training scenario, I couldn't do as much because I was running the pub. Anarchy was a little bit more laid back, so I went out there for 1 year Well, I'll say I'll go there for 1 year and then go back to Grovedale and end up playing there my whole career.
So
And
start,
stage,
went 1 year and start,
yeah,
finish your career.
Yeah. Drove 35 minutes every night to training and back. It was just become,
It's good. It's good fun, isn't it? That next level down of footy, like Geelong's a pretty serious league. You know, talking Grovedale and the Geelong League, the GDFL. You know, it's just. I remember going from, you know, Benny, like, and I'm talking like going under 16 to under 18, so it's a bit different. But going from, you know, the Bendigo League, South Bendigo, and then playing a year at Bridgewater in the Loddon Valley League, and it was the best year I'd had in footy. Not only was I actually able to play, you know, full games and the key positions and whatever, but it was just, it was more relaxed and it was more fun. And I'll always remember that as my favourite year of playing football.
I still remember my first coming from Grovedale. I went out to my first Anarchy training session and we were stretching down after training and a bloke got a gun out of his car and shot a rabbit. And I thought, where am I? Where am I? Who carries a gun in their car? You know, it's just the way that country towns were, you know. So it was a bit of an eye opener.
Wouldn't be shooting rabbits in Grovedale.
Yeah.
So I think you said before you're a tall man. You're 6'3" or 6'4" or so. So you played in the ruck then?
No, Dad was a ruckman. I didn't have the jumping powers of my old man.
Okay.
I went to Anarchy as a forward and ended up playing 10 years at full back. So it was just the way.
Ended up at full back.
The way, playing on some monsters back then, some good footballers. But football's a little bit different back then.
Yeah, mark and kick and leading forwards.
Oh, yeah.
You tough work back there. Tough work back then.
Yeah, we're talking about this recently, weren't we? We're talking about how the games, even at the lower country levels, it seems to just follow what happens in the AFL.
It does,
you know, like so. You know, I noticed a couple of times on Saturday watching the Suns versus Port Arlington, and a couple of times the Suns got a break. You know, there was no one down the forward line. The bloke's basically just standing there waiting for someone to kick to.
Hold it up.
Catch up. You know, the momentum's gone.
That does my head in too. Don't worry about it. I'll make sure I have someone in the forward line. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Back in the day, if you're on a one-sided game and you're playing the back line and it was in the
You'd be
or
freezing
vice
cold.
versa, you just stand around doing nothing all day.
That's right. I stand in the back pocket freezing.
I remember those days well. But
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the? I want to go back to the pub thing.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on the future of pubs? You know, we've talked about the challenges and how things have changed. Like, do you see a future for old school pubs like yours?
Well, we talked about Inverleigh. So Inverleigh's is a one pub town.
Yeah.
So that'll always be there.
Yeah.
So that's no problem of Inverleigh pub, you know, not existing anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a strong little town as
It's
well.
a strong little town.
And a growing town.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fine.
So that's one side of the story. So a pub like ours, which is one of 14 or something in the CBD, it's going to be a year-to-year proposition.
Yeah.
And so we're lucky enough to own the freehold of our pub.
Oh, yeah.
And we're not heritage listed. Okay. So, and we're not going to do it, you know, I want my son to go on and have a career somewhere else. You know what I mean? I don't want him to be a publican his whole life. So, you know, the person who buys our pub may be a developer. And that may be the block of land that all of a sudden and then another one goes.
And the proximity to the new convention centre must put the price up.
The value,
look,
you know,
and the value's gone up over the years, but so is everything. So it's just, you know, because ours is such a niche pub, another family would have to move in for it to be sustainable and viable. Because it's just, if all of a sudden we were employing 4 people off the street to do our job, it just wouldn't be sustainable, not viable.
And it's getting harder and harder, not just in hospitality, but in small business in general. I think, you know, I've been a small business for myself for 20 years, and first time out in that time out of it, I'm just so fucking relieved at the moment not to be running a small business. I see, you know, governments, state governments, federal governments just seem to be making it harder and harder, piling more shit on top of shit to make it harder for people to run small businesses, whether it be employment laws, whether it be alcohol excise continually going up and making it unaffordable for people. You know, it's isn't it?
As I say, you just got to try and keep evolving. And eventually you won't be able to evolve anymore. So, you know, we're lucky enough that we've got a fantastic bunch of regular customers, not only in the public bar, but also in the dining room. So we don't advertise at all. We're just one of those ones that I know at the end of the week how much money's going to be there within a couple, probably 10%.
Hardly moves.
Yeah, hardly moves.
Yeah.
So we're lucky in that respect.
Yeah.
We're not, that's enough for us to keep continuing.
Yeah. So you're not feeling at a great risk of, going down the gurgler because you've got a good feel for the money that's coming across, and you're balanced in terms of your outgoings. Because you're a family business, you can keep it sort of on top of it.
Yeah, I'd hate to know some of these other places that are paying rent. Employing
the freehold is a massive difference. Commercial leases are horrible.
It wouldn't be. It wouldn't be viable if we were paying rent.
Yeah.
But in saying that, we had to do a lot of hard work to be able to last as long as we did. We took on. I remember bucks parties that you would not even consider there, but you had to be able to get money in the till for that week.
And they just get a bit out of control.
Oh, shocking! Shocking. With no respect. But as I said, that'll be chapter 3 in the book. That'll be all right.
You got a name for the book?
Not yet. Or maybe what was I thinking? I don't know. There.
I'm writing a bit of a memoir myself of my time in small business. It's an interesting process to go through because there's a lot of stuff you forget until you actually start writing about it. And the first thing you'll get is all the timeline in place, particularly running the pub. There's some blurry nights, I'm sure, where you went. So it's, but also just delving back into that stuff, the bad stuff, the good stuff. It's quite draining, I've got to say.
Yeah, I could imagine.
So good luck with that. Cool. So and the Cooper's Dark Ale. Why is that? It just seems. We're grateful for it. That's what we come into the pub from every now and then because we like that beer. And I really struggle with Carlton Draft.
And sometimes it's not there, but we still go back. So maybe there's something else going on at that pub as well. It's not
just the beer, but it's an interesting. It just seems out of place in that pub. Is there a reason why that gets gone on?
So over the years, we've been the first to put a lot on. So we were the first pub to put 4X on.
Okay.
We were one of the first to put Furphy on.
Yeah. What happened to Furphy, by the way? It just disappeared.
He just disappeared. So you've seen fat beers over the years.
Yeah, it was huge for a little while. Yeah.
We had Guinness on once upon a time.
Oh, did you? Oh, we should still like Guinness.
But the maintenance on a Guinness, you need different gas. The yeast in the lines grow 10 times as quick. And if you're not doing the volume, it's not a great product.
Right.
The Cooper's rep come in, and he's just a lovely fella.
Yeah.
And
Hugh?
Yep. That's him.
Yeah.
So we're contracted for 80% of our taps to be Carlton United, and we can go with the 20% of what we wanted. And I wanted to put we had a spare tap, and I just said to Hugh, give me something that's
nobody else has got.
Yeah.
Got to be a point of difference.
And it was, why don't you try the dark ale? And we put a barrel on, and it sold, so it stayed. And it's become we got a group of retired railway workers that come in once a month.
Oh, and they must have come in that day before we got there and drank it through.
They did. And they hammer it. So it's good. It's something different. Tui's old probably goes in a lot of places as well, but I don't deal with Tui, so it was just a good. So, but don't worry, I got plenty of it at the moment.
I like the Tui. Tui's old for a long time. It gave me the sort of dark beer that I wanted.
And
in the draft form
is better. And I'd much prefer to drink an independent beer if you can. Which Cooper's is the kind of last remaining large independent brewery in Australia. So,
but the reason we run out of it is we got to go through Hugh to go to a mate of mine who's got a bottle shop to get the barrels to come in because we don't have an account with ALN and all. It's a bit of a process. It's a bit of a process. So what you do is you try and order enough in that's going to keep you going, and then, but if you have a run on it,
get caught.
If you have a run on it, you can't get it tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
So it's just one of those things. But don't worry, I got plenty of it now.
It's back. It's back.
Down there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Chris, for joining us. Did you warn Chris about the question, or do we not?
No, I keep forgetting to warn our guests about the question.
That's okay.
But it's a question
We got a question
without notice.
Without notice,
That's how we
yeah.
say it.
No worries.
We've started this. Brian, I don't think Brian's on board with us that we had, but I thought it'd be a good idea.
We'll see what Chris
after
thinks
our
of it.
50th episode. But so we'd like to ask a question: if you could go back in time and meet your 14-year-old self, what would you tell him?
I would tell him to enjoy things more,
Yeah,
right? There'll be challenges.
yeah,
They'll seem like the end of the world,
yeah,
but things always get better.
yeah.
And the more you live, the more experience you get, and life becomes easier.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think,
It's funny. Almost everyone we've asked comes up with an answer that's slightly different on a similar,
on a similar theme, isn't it? Yeah.
Basically,
No, you said exactly the same thing.
Okay, you know,
But it's like,
things will turn out. You
yeah.
have to-
Yeah.
There's a path, there's a life, and, you know, you just need to, as a young person, I think you can, you know, everything seems really difficult ahead of you. You know, we've had this conversation before, everything about
Especially when you are
you know,
14, you're in your early
you
teens.
got
It's a
people's-
fucking horrible time.
Where I want to be better at footy, you know, need to make 100 runs. Will girls like me? You know, everything looks like it's disaster ahead of you. You know,
Well,
you know, it's like,
as I said, you know, become, you know, you a little bit of a mentor to kids that are you're coaching, and I always say if you're struggling, come and see me. And a couple of them come and see me, and I say, so one of your family members are dying from cancer, are they? Have you got your 16-year-old girlfriend pregnant? Have you? And they say no to every question. I said, well, we can deal with everything else, right? Everything else we can deal with. So don't worry about it. We can, you know, life's not that tough. This is just a speed hump. We can get over these, and it gets better.
yeah.
And how are young blokes going in general? Like you obviously deal with them a lot.
Footy player,
as you said, you're a mentor to them. I mean, how are they going? I mean, social media, all these things going on, like bombarded with bad news. Like,
That's why I touched on the parents with football. I just think kids need to be kids, you know, and they seem to have a lot more pressures than what we did when we were growing up, you know, because everything's sort of more in the spotlight. And just enjoy yourselves. You know, that's
plenty of time to be serious when you.
well.
Got responsibilities.
Every mistake you make, you learn from it. And if I hadn't made mistakes in my life, I probably wouldn't be where I am now. So yeah, just don't take things too seriously. We can fix it.
Yeah, you learn from your mistakes just as much as you learn for things that go right. Don't you?
Yep.
Probably more so, really.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for coming down on your day off.
No worries at all. I'm going to do the exciting weekly shopping after this. So yeah.
What, down to Campbell's Cash and Carry? Or
No. This is house shopping. We'll be straight to Coles and get the supplies for the week.
Yeah. Good. And good luck with Inverleigh for the rest of the season. And I think it might be a bit of a tough run back home for you.
Yep.
You got a little bit of work to do, but good luck with it, and good luck with the pub.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me, guys.
We'll see you in there for a pint or two of the Cooper's Dark soon.
Absolutely, for a dark beer.
No worries. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Lord made me, he made a rambling man. Some folks might say that I'm no good, that I